Igor Jesus is a red. Kamahamiha! Evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well and welcome to the live stream. There's a lot to update you guys about. I thought it would just be easier to do it in a live stream. How are you all doing? Let me just sort my screens out. There we go. How are you guys all doing? It's official. It's confirmed. Now, do you believe me? Told you 5-6 weeks ago. It's done. It's done. It's done. And finally, Forest have confirmed it. It's official. Igor Jesus is a red. And the question is, who starts? I'll put a poll up. Will it be Chris Wood up front? Will it be Jesus? Or will it be Taiwo? What's your choice on it all? If you're enjoying the content, by the way, please don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well if you are new. And we'll kick it off, obviously, with Igor Jesus. But I'll be talking to you about Elanga, the latest on Elanga, Bakayoko, potential Elanga replacement. And we got to talk a bit about Sheffield as well. I hope you guys in the chat are well. So it officially got confirmed from Forest today that Igor Jesus is a red. Now, if you've noticed, there's been no pictures of him in and around, Nottingham or anything like that, because I don't know for sure, but he's on holiday. So probably why. That's probably why. How you guys in the chat all doing? Good to see you, lovely jubbly. Hope you're well. Big up, Ryan. How are you, bud? Curtis said you're all mad to think Igor Jesus starts straight away. Well, that's why the poll's up there and everyone is entitled to their opinion. Evening, Anne. Hope you're well. Muhammad's in the house, sir. It says, if I was the manager, I'd sell Wood because I want to make young talent into superstars. So it wouldn't be part of my plans. Interesting take. Big up, Chris. Hope you're well. Alistair as well in the house. Get your highs in, guys. Get your highs in. Shout out to my man, Andy, with the 199. It says, big up, Wolfie. Smash that like button. Yeah, if you're excited about Igor, make sure you've hit that like button. Thank you so much for the 199. He's still got that picture of Gas. Carl, my guy. But how many months is that now, Carl? 23 months, 1 year away from the 2 year. And Andy as well with the 14 months. Shout out to you all. Poison Soup saying, so what's actually going on with Elanga? And I hope Jesus is going to be good, but his stats put him on par with Wood, really. We'll cover off Elanga in just a second. Obviously, we had an interview with Ben Jacob yesterday, gave us some insight into the details. I just saw him, was it from Owen? Where's that message from Owen gone? I can't find it, Owen. I swear I saw. Was I imagining it? Was the glasses overworking? I think Owen said on Elanga, write it again, Owen. Was it something about contract talks with him? Utter crap. Utter crap. There was some Twitter account that was doing it. We called it out on there. Utter crap. There's no contract talks going on right now with Elanga. Tom's there. Ian's there. How you guys doing? He won't wear number 99. Premier League rules don't allow it. So is that true? I did not know that. Okay, what I want to do, let's quickly get the official stuff done and dusted on Igor Jesus. I mean, let's be honest, guys, it's dragged out for a long time, for a long time, but at least it's done. At least it's done. So let's look at the statement. And it says here from Forest, officially, Forest is delighted to confirm the signing of Igor Jesus from Botafogo. The 24-year-old striker signed a 4-year deal, having just returned from the FIFA Club World Cup. Along the way to Botafogo, qualifying for knockout stages. The Brazilian scored twice in the tournament, including the winner against PSG, and was named player of match. Yeah, we know, we did a watch along for it. The Brazilian started his career at Coritiba, where he made his first team debut at the age of 18 in 2020. Igor Jesus joined the UAE side Shabab Al Ahly, where he's love pronouncing that stuff, innit? Where he scored 43 times and registered 20 assists in 88 appearances. Then he returned to his homeland in 2024. Igor's domestic form earned him his first international call-up as he was selected for Brazil's World Cup qualification game in October and November. A memorable start to his international career saw the striker score on his debut against Chile and provide an assist against Peru. The versatile forward who can operate as a central striker or from the wing led the line for Botafogo as they lifted the Serie A and Copa Libertadores title last season. Everyone in Nottingham Forest welcomes Igor, who will join his new teammates in pre-season ahead of the new campaign. By the way, I believe the player's back on Monday, and then the first game's on the 12th, and we'll be with you guys going through that game. Upon signing, Igor Jesus said, "I'm really happy to be part of the new story, especially at a club like Forest. I didn't have to think twice about the offer." Really? I'll let it slide. I embrace it. I embrace the project that they sent me. I am delighted to be coming here and hope to do some great work. I will do my very best to achieve great results and bring joy to all the Forest family. And then Ross Wilson, who's still here, not in Newcastle, he said, "We have tracked Igor over a long period of time now, and we are pleased he has joined the club. Igor joins a strong and united squad. We are sure that he will settle in well to our group. The club continues to grow and develop all the time, and we know Igor shares such ambitions as he moves to Nottingham and the exciting challenge for him in the Premier League." Alrighty then. So, couple of things. Let's talk about the obvious thing there. I didn't have to think twice, right? We all know that he thought about it. He didn't think about it twice. He thought about it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, right? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look, at the end of the day, whenever you move a job, yeah, you're not going to just say, yeah, okay, cool. Unless they're going to give you like £1 million a week or something, right? There's always going to be time to reflect on it. Jesus didn't hesitate as the other two. All right, well, technically, he rejected us in January, right? Because he wanted to play in the Club World Cup. So it is what it is. Right, let me just catch you up on a couple of the super chats. Where are they? Get your messages in. You can grab me a coffee if you want as well. I can't wait to see the poll, who you guys are going to start up front. Rich, my man Rich, he says, "Good news at last, Wolfie. Keep up the good work, bro." Thank you so much, Rich, and thank you so much for the £2. Right, so firstly, I got to ask you guys, do you now believe me on Jesus? Do you believe me? And Joker as well. Apologies with the 30 months, Joker. That's crazy. Afternoon, Martin, as well. Hope you're well. Okay, so let me give you the time frames just as a quick summary. So he signed a 4-year deal. The fee is 10 million, which is an absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. I know you do, Josh. I know you do. Evan, you'd be surprised, but all the doubters are very quiet right now. Very quiet. So it's a 10 million deal, right? Now, the timeline is this, as far as we understand. Forest wanted him in January. They put a bid in for him. The deal was agreed, but he wanted to play in the Club World Cup for Botafogo. Forest then came in again towards the start of this window. There was discussions, an agreement was made. He did think about it twice. Forest are interested in Eze, Evan. Trust me, bruv. He wanted to play in the Club World Cup. So eventually the agreement was reached and the decision was made that he will play the Club World Cup and then join Forest. In fact, you guys want me to tell you the exact date that he signed? Because I have it here. Hold on. Let me take this a step further for you lot, right? Let me tell you the exact date he signed. Where's my messages? 2 seconds to talk amongst yourselves. Keep talking. What the hell's the name of matey boy? Where's he gone? Can't be that far down on my chat list. I forgot his name, man. Oh, there it is. Okay, I've got it. So the exact date was... Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. The 4th of June. The 4th of June, okay? So that's when he signed the contract. Now, once the Club World Cup had finished and they'd got knocked out, then he did his medical, I believe, over in the States. That I don't know for certain. And then he's on holiday, and then I would assume, because the players are coming back next week, some point next week, he will join up with the players, okay? So that's the news on Igor Jesus. Now, what I want to tell you, Kevin's saying, I think you're over-egging your own importance in this. It was broken by proper sports journalists before you. Cool, show me. Show me where they said he'd signed before we did. He could turn the Trent into wine. Right? Oh, here we go. We started with the old analogies. All right, get your best Jesus lines in, I guess. Wrong about Elanga though. Need new sources. I ain't said nothing on Elanga. I've just been reporting to you what's going on in Elanga. The only way Eze joins is if Jair Cunha changes his surname by D-Pol to Eze. We'll see. Oh, by the way, when have we ever claimed to be journalists? Okay, so hold on, what was I going to say? All right, on the pot now. What before we move on to Elanga, what I want to know from you guys is who is going to start up front. So I'm still not sure if Taiwo stays. By the way, just my opinion on that one. 59% of you are putting Jesus straight into the team. 39% of you are putting Woodinho into the team, and 2% of you are saying Taiwo. Actually, that's not what I said, Lewis. I said that Elanga doesn't want to leave, that Forest don't want to sell Elanga, and it would take a bid that they deemed over his valuation. That's what I said. Big up to my man John. He goes, United squad. That sounds like Elanga is staying. Big up with the 199. I don't think Elanga's staying, bro. Like, from talking with Ben Jacobs, I don't think it's staying. He's staying. But you never know. I just want Jesus to have some bonding time on the pitch of the team. So this is, like, what Josh is saying here is actually really important to Jesus. One of the reasons he had thinking time, shall we call it for the sake of it, about joining Forest was because of the bond and relationship he had with the players at Botafogo, the fans, and the backroom staff, etc. So he really wants a club, should I say, that have similar ethics. And to be honest, I think he's going to find that with us, not a problem. We're all going to be seeing loads of these, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to love us, we're going to love him. Now, in terms of the poll, 60% of you are saying Jesus to start. I agree with you guys. I do. I think, look, Botafogo don't play too dissimilar to Forest in terms of their style, right? If you look, especially when they come up against stronger teams, as they did in the Club World Cup, it was a bit like watching Forest, right? And he can lead that line. And he's quicker than Chris Wood. Now, I think Chris Wood is a better converter of shots than Jesus. I think where Jesus still needs to improve is his shot decision making, because he does have a tendency to shoot on sight. Okay? Now, on the point, and it's interesting what Owens just said there, Jesus needs a rest first and he'll be eased in. I completely disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. Because the Brazilian season is different to the English Premier League season. They're about 9 games into their season, and they run until December. So technically speaking, Jesus is now coming towards the peak of his season fitness. Therefore, yeah, I agree. He needs like a week off, and there's going to be settling in time, getting himself, his family, whatever, settled into England. But in terms of looking at it from a footballing perspective, don't forget the difference between the Brazilian league and what we've got here in England in terms of starts and finishes. So if you remember back to Scarpa, he joined in December when the season finished. the talk on Jair Cunha was that he wanted to see out the season until December and then potentially join Forest there. But on Jair Cunha, very quick side note alert, that's all done. Obviously, we've told you all about that. So that's nicely done and dusted. And I think now, off the back of Tyler Binden going to scummy Sheffield, which I'm not happy about, by the way, and a lot of you guys disagreed with me, cool. It is what it is. And I'm not saying that I didn't want Tyler Binden to go out on loan. What I'm saying is I didn't want him going to Sheffield because Tyler Binden is a pure quality potential player. And I don't want him to strengthen that scum. That's the key thing. Had he gone to an Ipswich, a Middlesbrough, or whatever, cool. But to scum, and speaking of scum, bang on cue. You okay, hun? That line lives in the memories. It really does, man. It really does. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out, the only Sheffield person I can stomach sometimes. Make sure you subscribe to the Blade Ramble, just so you can abuse him. But he blocks you if you abuse him, man. I'm still blocked on it. Jimmy, I'm still blocked in your live chat, man. Unblock me, man. But yeah, big up to Jimmy. We'll see Jimmy next season on Beat the Drop. Oh, wait, no. They bottled promotion, and then they bottled the playoffs. They bottled the playoffs. Again. Say hi to Leicester, Jimmy. Make sure you do some work with Locke. Say hi to the sheep. Who else is in there, Jimmy? I don't keep up to date with that, that league. It's beneath us. Who's still in there? Stoke's still in there? I know Coventry are. I don't mind Coventry coming back up. But yeah, you're okay, hun. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, Tyler Bennett. So I'm not against him going on loan is my point. I just think he could have gone to a better championship team. Ipswich, Bournemouth, Brentford. Those kind of championship teams he could have done a lot better than going to Sheffield. That's my point here. Now, all the Sheffield fans started crying because they started reading me their CV. I'm not even bringing that comment up, Jimmy. And what were they saying? Oh, but look what we did with Morgan Gibbs-White. Look what we did with Dean Henderson. Look what we did with McAtee. Look what we did with... I think that was pretty much their whole list, unless Jimmy can add to it, right? That was it. And what makes me laugh is by them just saying that, what they're admitting to is being a training camp for bigger clubs. That's what they're admitting to by saying that. At least he didn't go to the sheep. Yeah, that would never happen, Rich. We'd be rioting at that stage. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to bring a quick update on Tyler Binden. So he's gone out on a season loan. Jimmy, look after him. I hope he does an Omar Bamadeli to you guys on the final day of the season. What's happening with Europa? Europa will be announced sometime. I think the hearing is now moved to next Thursday. We will cover that off for you guys. All right, let's move on and talk about Elanga. Chill Jack is coming, bro. There's plenty to update you guys on. Right, I'm going step by step here. Okay. How are we doing on the likes? How are we doing on the likes? We've got 500 in here. Likes are pretty embarrassing, guys. Your likes are nearly as embarrassing as that Sheffield club. 123 likes. What are we saying here? We should be on 150 comfortably by now. What's Jimmy saying here? So what you're saying is if they can make it at Sheffield, they can make it at the Prem. How's Archer doing in the Prem? How's Archer doing, Jimmy? Your boy Archer that you bigged up. What's he saying? Anyway. All right, Jack. Type it one more time and you'll just get banned from the chat. Seriously. Appreciate it, Warren. Appreciate it. Okay, look. There's been some crap, right? Yo, Double O's. Oh man, that's sad news there. Double O's saying, raising his glass to his dead cat, Wolfie. Yo, I will raise a glass with you. Let's get some hearts to Double O. has lost his cat. Legend of the channel. Big up to your cat, Double O, man. Sorry to hear that. You only have 10 on YouTube. We're only streaming on YouTube, bro. Refresh your screen. It's 171. 171. Can you not do this full time, Wolfie? I would love to, bro. I'd love to, but I got like 3 kids and a wife to support, and I'm only 23. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it feels full time, to be honest. Yeah. I get what you're saying, James, but I disagree because of the club. Scummy club, scummy club. Never, ever, ever will I forgive him for 2003. All right. No, I'm 23. Shout out to Stu who got me this. Yeah. I'm gonna need an updated one in November to 24. Big 24 coming in, you know what I'm saying? Like, they said to me at 23, vision starts to go and everything. They were right, man. I've ended up with glasses. You look 52. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Yo, shout out to Melody says, enjoy your coffee and thanks for all your hard work. Big up to you, Melody. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. It will end Binden's career. Facts, Poison Soup. Facts. That's my worry. Where's the Forest light? End of next week, they told me it's coming. End of next week. It's on its way. Don't worry, it's on its way. All right, here come the paper round jokes. Do you guys want me to talk about Elanga, or should we just do the he's not 23 thing, even though he's 23? Yeah, Jabba. Yeah. I was there with, I'll tell you, I was at the game, the home game, with me, Twist, and my brother, who's, by the way, 5 years younger than me. So you figure out his age from that. And yeah, that penalty from Brown just broke me. And then let's not talk about the away leg. Let's not talk about how they cheated on the away leg. Are there any contract updates on Ola Einar? That's going to be announced soon. Big up to Curtis, member for 8 months. My legend, Curtis. What you saying, bro? Any more £10 million wins on your betting slips? Can we talk about Elanga? Let's move on and talk about Elanga. Okay, Elanga. So there's been some absolute fake news flying around on Elanga that Forest, I think it said something like Forest are not in negotiations with Newcastle and are refusing to talk to Newcastle. Elanga doesn't want to leave Forest, and Forest and Elanga are discussing a new contract. I did indeed, Evan. I did indeed. All of those things are absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Okay? So, the story and the update is this. Discussions have been going on for the last 2 days. Forest, and a lot of this stuff we covered off. Make sure if you haven't seen the thing we did with Ben Jacobs yesterday, who is very good with all the transfers this summer. Here's what we know. Forest want more than 55 mil. Forest wants 60. Now, I've been speculating for a while that Forest will probably push for a 55 plus 5. Okay? That's what I think it will be. The only way I think Forest accept the 55 million deal is if Newcastle present the majority of that up front. So normally clubs will spread the cost out of a transfer fee over 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it is. Okay. And that's how they'll do it. But in some deals, they will demand more up front. So for example, if a player has a release clause of, let's just say 50 million, right? Sometimes clubs will overpay over the release clause because technically a release clause means you have to give 50 million cash straight up to trigger it. What clubs sometimes will do is say to club A, for player A, all right, we'll give you 55 million, but we'll pay you 15 million for the next 3 or 4 years, whatever it is, right? So at the moment, where things are at is that Forest haven't rejected this 55 million deal, but they still want a bit more. Be that they can get Newcastle more towards the 60 million, or be it that within the structure of that deal, that they say to Newcastle, we want, let's just say, and I'm making this number up, 30 million up front, and then we want the rest of the 25 mil in 12 months or in whatever, okay? The expectation from everyone I've spoken to now is that this deal won't be rejected, but it will be tweaked, okay? And the expectation is that they think it will get done. Now, Newcastle want to get this deal done by the end of this week at the latest, okay? They want Elanga in ASAP so they can get him integrated with their team and everything else like that. So the general consensus right now is that early next week, a deal will be agreed and struck between the two clubs, be it the 55 with maybe a bigger chunk up front of that money, or be it that they put some add-ons, Elanga scores X amount of goals or makes X amount of appearances for Sweden or assists or whatever, wins a Ballon d'Or or some weird stuff like that, okay? So as we sit here now, my expectation is that Elanga will leave Forest. All that other crap, I think someone was putting out saying that BBC Nottingham had done an interview with Elanga, and Elanga, all of that is absolute rubbish, okay? Now, that then straight away brings on a couple of key questions. Question one, why are Forest doing this before they've got a replacement through the door? Question number two, Marinakis said, and it was Marinakis that said at the start of last season, I'm paraphrasing, but we don't need to sell. I would rather keep the players than break up the team unity and the team bond within the players, right? So yes, we are 10 months down the road from that. What has changed in the feel of it? The other thing that's being said is that people are saying Forest have to sell one of the big boys' names to comply with PSR. I don't agree with that. Okay, we've spoken and we've interviewed. You guys have probably seen it on here in Maguire. And he said Forest could comfortably spend somewhere in and around 100 million this summer without worrying too much about PSR. Okay, so PSR is not a factor. Is not a factor when it comes to Forest and doing these sales. Okay. Are you all with me and following? All with me and following, yeah? So, in terms of, let's now make the assumption that Elanga goes. Who are Forest talking about for replacements? Just before we get into the replacements ones, let me catch up on some of the super chats here. We got Stretch Armstrong with the 99 cent. Big up to you, Stretch Armstrong. We got my man Curtis with the $2 in honor of me just becoming a super red. Thank you so much, Curtis, man. Great supporter of the channel. Much love to you. And we got Crypto with the £2. He said he leaving, saw him at petrol station. £1.69 per litre now. FFS. Yo, 1.6, is that diesel? Or is that petrol? I thought petrol was like 139 or something. That £2 will nearly get me a litre, bro. Big up to you, Ben. And we had Georgius as well with the 23 months. Owen as well with 32 months. Owen, shout out to you. And then Willpower as well with the 21 months. Big up to you as well, Will. Thank you so much. Oh crap, what have I pressed here? Massive shout out as well to Felper11, who's bought me a coffee. Enjoy, my man. Thanks for all your hard work. Much love and appreciation to you. By the way, straight after this, I'll be on Never a Foul because we're going to be laughing at Arsenal potentially signing Madueke from Chelsea, which is just absolutely hilarious. Okay, so let's get back to this. Guys, please do hit the like button. 222 likes. We got nearly 600 of you in here. Now, there is reports, I think they're coming out of The Guardian, to say that the player Forest are looking at as a replacement for Elanga, if Elanga were to go, so we're just working on that assumption right now, is going to be Johan Bakayoko from PSV, who I really like. very good player, would cost about 20 million is roughly the asking price that's being reported. Okay. Now, he's a right winger, but left footed. I think he's quite heavily left footed, but he's quite decent on his right foot as well. Okay. Now, obviously, we've got connections with them because we got Sangare from there. So maybe there's a little agent Sangare going on. He is linked to Dortmund. He is linked to some other clubs as well. Yeah, he's from Belgium. Exactly, Leonard. I thought you'd like that one. Now, I think with him, his strengths, he is a goal scorer. He does get goals, but he does tend to miss a few as well, right? He's had a few games where I've seen of him where he's missed a couple of sitters, but most players have done that. He reminds me a lot of an inverse Callum Hudson-Odoi, where he's not a player that is just a touchline winger. He likes to cut in. Yeah, he did score against Liverpool. You're right. You're right. He did score against Liverpool. He's a player that likes to cut in from the right-hand side and then tends to do, the Callum Hudson-Odoi shot from the edge of the box. He's a big fan of that. Very tricky. I think he's got kind of good low center of gravity. The big thing for me in anything coming over from the Dutch league is, can that convert into the Premier League? Now, obviously, at PSV, he's been playing in the European competitions. He's done very well in those as well, in the games I've watched of him. In general, this is a risk, but it's one that we're going to have to take. If you could pick one of Yilmaz or Bakayoko, who would I pick? I'd pick both, bro. I'd pick both. That's what I do. Hold on, what are these lot sending me? Oh, and Ben, why are you sending me that now while I'm live, man? That's just anyway. Musiala's snapped his ankle, man. That is nasty. That's nasty. So look, Bakayoko is slightly, for me, has the edge over Yilmaz. But both would be amazing. Yeah, look, the reason I say both is because I think they bring a different element to the game, right? You got Bakayoko, who tends to like to cut in. You got Yilmaz, who can go outside and inside. I'm a little bit old school. I don't know am I still old school? What do you guys like? Do you guys like a winger who's a winger, or do you like a winger who inverts? I actually like a left-footed winger on the right side and a right-footed winger, on the left side. I still kind of like that. Now, so when I said he's similar to Hudson-Odoi, by the way, I think he's quicker than Hudson-Odoi. I'm talking about in terms of like what he's looking from the end product. Now, when he gets outside, and he does, like, I'm overdoing it a bit, right? He doesn't cut in every single time. When he goes on the outside and he's crossing with his right foot crosses are okay. It can be a little kind of more loopy than kind of neat hit, but I would say for the FIFA players amongst you there, I'd call him like a 4-star, right? Very tricky, good on both feet, but even though he's good on his right foot, he still heavily will take it onto his stronger foot on his left, if that makes sense. Okay. I like a winger who's quick and consistent. Alistair saying winger for me. Igor seems like he can play with the ball and can drop deep. He can indeed, bro. Yeah, I think, look, who's better, Bakayoko or Elanga? I think that's a good question to ask you guys. I don't think it's a tough answer, if I'm being honest with you. I think Elanga, as things stand, is the better player. What about Fofana? We'll talk about Fofana in just a second. Ben did an update on him on the video yesterday, Tom. With me, Elanga currently is the better player because he's already done it at Premier League level, right? Elanga, I would have expected a few more goals from him this season, but he bagged a crap load of assists, right? And what you tend to find with a right-footed winger is they end up with more assists than goals because of the nature of the beast, right? Because when you cut in from the right side of the wing, more times than that will put you onto your weaker foot. Now, Elanga's weak foot has actually got very strong for me, especially over the last 18 months. So because Elanga, but the funny thing with Elanga, my frustration with Elanga is that he should go out on the outside more because of his pace. Because of his pace. That's the thing. What about Saka? Saka's left-footed. So he'll get more goals. Mohamed Salah, he's left-footed. He's getting more goals than assists. So that's the thing. So in terms of who's better, Bakayoko is what, a year younger? I think he's 22 off the top of my head. Have we sold Elanga? No, nothing's been finalized yet, man. But it's looking like we're going that way, Gregory. Keep Jota. We don't want to lose two right wingers. There is talks of Jota leaving, going to Portugal. I think we did a video on that the other day. I hear what you're saying, but I'm not convinced on Jota. I'm not convinced on Jota. It looks like Sosa's going to go Palmeiras. Now, back to Bakayoko. For 20 million, I don't know how to tell you guys what I mean by this, right? For 20 million, he would be an absolute bargain, and he has the potential to move on. But to replace Elanga brings a massive element of risk. I don't know if that makes sense. So let me rephrase. If we still had Elanga and then we were getting Bakayoko on top of Elanga, that to me is like, wow, this club is moving in crazy good directions, right? Because you're bringing in Elanga and then you got Bakayoko who's going to push Elanga for that spot because he's good enough to try and compete with him. It also gives you a different element as well. Okay, right. I can see loads of you asking loads of different questions and loads of different players. I'll get to them as soon as I can, right? Just like chill with me, right? So that's the thing. Now, if you're removing Elanga from the equation and then you're adding a Bakayoko into the equation, you add that huge element of risk because you're chucking away 17 GA, right, with Elanga. Now, are you going to be confident enough to say that Bakayoko comes in and instantly gives you that 17 GA, and then you would like some more on top of that? I think that's too far of a risk and too far of a stretch for that to happen. Okay? That's my issue with this Elanga sale. I am not opposed to Elanga going, but if we were say we were selling Elanga and just for argument's sake, we're bringing in a Brian Mbeumo, right? That you would say is not risky. Bringing in a Bakayoko who should turn into a better player than Elanga, in my opinion, in the long term, still has a bigger and heavier risk because of what you're losing with what Elanga's done. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So this is, by the way, when I'm talking about this, again, to reiterate, this is if Elanga goes to Newcastle, which it looks currently at the time of us being live here, that he will. This is one of the targets that Forest are looking at. The other is Yilmaz as well. Now, why would Forest prefer Bakayoko over Yilmaz? Is because of the price tag, right? This one's going to cost us about 20 million. Yilmaz is more towards the 25 to 28 million pound mark. Okay. Now, that in the scheme of football fees is not massive. You're talking about a few million here and there. Okay. Now, on the other side, on the Fofana side, what in turn, remember we told you Romano tweeted saying that Forest and Lyon have agreed a fee for Fofana. That in essence is basically BS. Okay. So, all right, let me try and explain this one. This is a complicated one to explain. Let me know if it makes sense. Basically, with Lyon missing out on, with Lyon in financial trouble, should I say, there's the thing in football is the near miss. Okay, so you got the near miss. Remember how we tried to argue the near miss case with Jono when we got our PSR issues? Now, what my understanding of it is, and a lot of this is coming from my conversations with the likes of Ben Jacob, etc., is that Marinakis is helping Textor with Lyon by having an agreement in place. Okay, because in principle, if that agreement is in place, Lyon can then argue their case next week when they go for their appeal to say, right, you wanted us to produce 70 million euros in the next 2 weeks. we've got an agreement in principle here of, let's just say, 40 million euros with Forest over the sale of Fofana. Does that make sense? So they can say from that 70 million or whatever it is, 40 million of that is already agreed in principle with Forest. We have a firm in writing deal. Okay. Now, what the journalist is saying to me is that this is almost paper money, if you like. Okay. Now, it's not saying Forest are not interested in Fofana. They are. I mean, who wouldn't be? You'd be an idiot not to be. What it's saying is that to help Textor, because Marinakis and Textor have this relationship, this is part of the, give back a little to what makes sense. Exactly. Yeah, Nick, exactly. Ben explained it very well yesterday, but I'm just trying to do it in layman's terms, right? And for maybe some of those who hadn't seen the episode. So does that make sense? So basically, don't get overexcited about Fofana. Now, for what was true about that tweet is that Fofana is looking for Champions League football. We have no one to blame but ourselves for that one. Okay? Does that make sense? Is that clear on the Fofana stuff? So, yes, technically, Forest have put an offer in for Fofana, but the reality is that this offer is to help Lyon to win their case next week. Now, bear in mind, that doesn't just help Lyon, it helps Forest, right? Because if Lyon win their appeal next week, which everyone seems to think they will, it's going to be a case of Forest potentially will end up back in Europe. Well, Forest will be promoted into Europa League, and Palace are either demoted to the conference or kicked out of Europe completely. Any more news on Yunus Musa? That's actually still serious links. I didn't have time. We ran out of time with Ben Jacobs to get more details about it, but Forest are still interested in him. I'm not fully convinced by him, but I think he's all right. Wake Up saying this window is not exciting me. I'm with you, bro. I am finding it that exciting either, but we've got 2 players in. It's not a bad start. There's still plenty of time in there. So on the striker, Leonard's asking about my boy, Mika Tauzi. There's been nothing progressed from that in the last reports we've given you. I have no new updates on it, and I didn't get a chance to ask Ben Jacob on it. I will get Ben Jacobs back shortly, but we were both very tight on time yesterday, so we were only able to get like 15-20 minutes in there. So, okay, does that make sense on the Fofana bit? I don't want to believe it, but it's the reality of it. I think I spoke to Ant last night, and I was like, I'd rather have not known and just been happy that Forest were linked to Fofana and have my heart broken in a couple of weeks' time. Moose a decent backup player, says Ez. Yeah, but Ez, man, you know me and Ant, we want that ceiling raised as well as the floor. He's your number 1 target. I would absolutely give my left toe to have him at Forest. He is that good. The other update I need to give you on, and again, we kind of ran out of time with it yesterday with Ben Jacobs, is Richard Rios, who, by the way, had another storming game yesterday against Chelsea for Palmeiras. Now, the expectation is that Richard Rios is going to leave Palmeiras this summer. Okay. Now, remember, Forest wanted him in January. Was it January or the summer last season? I can't remember which one now off the top of my head. At that stage, the price was about 20 million euros or pounds, whichever one it was. Now, everyone keeps tagging this 85 million pounds, this 100 million euros to him because of his release clause. That's just a release clause. I keep reiterating that to you guys. That's not what he's going to go for. But because he's had such a good Club World Cup, Palmeiras are now looking more towards the 30 million mark than they were the 20 million mark 6 to 12 months ago. He is an absolute baller. I will take him tomorrow. Now, the clubs that are interested are Forest, Man U, there's one other Premier League club. Someone remind me which one it is. And then Inter Milan. Again, according to Ben Jacobs, the only club that have made a serious approach on him is Inter Milan. Now, on top of that, there are loads of reports to suggest that he would be open to Inter Milan. It is Spurs. Thank you, Evan. It is Spurs. You're right. He would be open to Inter Milan, but his preference is Premier League. I don't know how true that is. No one that we speak to has said that to me, so I can't confirm or deny that one. But there is advantages to Forest in this deal. One, we're bigger than Spurs, right? I'm not worried about Spurs. Secondly, Man U are a joke. But thirdly, and most importantly, Forest already have a great working relationship with Palmeiras. Obviously, we've had Danilo from them, we've had Scarpa from them. And more importantly on that relationship is the fact that Sosa is probably going to Palmeiras. Now, what I think could happen on that, now this bit, again, is just me speculating, looking into it. There's an agreement could be reached where you have a player plus cash swap, if you like, right? So if Palmeiras want 30 million, let's just call it 25 million in pound deals, right? 25 million for him, and Forest agree with them 10 million for Sosa, 15 million gap, you will end up potentially doing a swap deal. Now, the problem is Sosa is still not set on leaving European football and going back to South America. But there was reports last week that are suggesting that Sosa is now has been convinced enough to go to Palmeiras, and a deal looks likely to be agreed on that one. Okay. I think Forest, if they were smart, would use this as leverage to try and get Richard Rios from Palmeiras, especially as he's interested in the Premier League, especially as he's probably going to be mates with the likes of Danilo and a few of the other boys. Okay. I'm still hopeful on him. Now, what Ben Jacobs said to me is there has been no approach from Forest to Palmeiras yet on Richard Rios. Yes, the reports about Forest scouting him at the Club World Cup are true, but Forest are probably scouting 10, 20, 30 different players out there. And on top of that, there will be another 10 to 20 teams that are scouting him as well. Okay, there's a lot of scouting going on. I've ruined my mac and cheese listening to this, says John. My bad, John. My bad. Okay, so I am hopeful, not expectant, of Richard Rios signing to Forest. Now, again, there have been some fake news reports on Richard Rios. I've seen some that have said stuff like Richard Rios only wants to join Forest despite Inter Milan being interested, despite Man United being interested. I'm coming to him, Curtis. I'm coming to him. Despite all those, he only wants to join Forest because he knows a lot of the Forest players there. Now, while I don't dispute that there's probably some truth in that, there's no credible sourcing to say that he's actually thinking that, okay? And also, if he was thinking that, he would be an idiot. Because what if Forest didn't want him? Yeah, and now suddenly Forest don't come in for you, and you're like, oh, okay, I better go to those other clubs that I already told that I only want Forest. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't give that source too much credibility. Does that make sense? Does that exactly that, Chaka? Man U's a career killer. They're gonna ruin Cunha. Okay, let's just quickly catch up on some of these super chats, guys. Please do hit the like button. We got over 500 in here. Where did we get to on the super chats? We got Amit with the 2 Canadian. He says, you rock, hit that like button. Absolutely, man. Make sure you've hit that like button. Big up to you, Amit. Much love to you. We got Will, confirmation there of his 21 months. Absolute legend. And we got Curtis with the $5 there. I don't, man. I don't. I'm just hot. Curtis with $5. He goes, to change how we play, get what Nuno needs to make it happen. Cannot rely on defensive counter. Teams will give us the ball like the last 10 games. I hear what you're saying. I do not. I will. How should I say this? I will be pleasantly surprised if Nuno changes his philosophy on football. Not that I'm saying it's a bad philosophy, by the way. I just don't expect that to happen because that's been his philosophy throughout his managerial career. So it's very unlikely that would happen. And let's be honest, it has served him very well wherever he has been. He's got Wolves into Europe twice. He's got them promoted from the Championship. He won the league at Saudi. He survived going into Spurs, and he survived coming out of Spurs, which, if anyone knows that area, because it's an absolute dump, he's done very well to do that in itself. And obviously he's taken Forest from 17th to Europe in a season. So I don't expect him to change his style. Do I like his style as a football fan? No. If Forest are winning, do I care? Not really. Not really. But thank you for the $5, bro. All right, let's get into some of your comments. That's why I say he's not good enough for Europe. I think, didn't he get to the quarterfinals in the Europa with Wolves? Did he not? We need a backup 6, says Muhammad. I would argue maybe even need a starting 6 as well. Okay. Is there any, what else have I forgotten to update you guys on? Can anyone think of any other subjects or topics? Think, chat. Think. But did he win anything? Yeah, but was the yeah, he did. He won at Saudi. He won the league at Saudi. Matt, I've stopped shaking, bro. He goes, I don't think Jesus will be at Chesterfield as he's still out of the country. I'll find out. I'll find out what's going on with him. Well, you know who I'm talking to about that, Matt. So I'll find out and I'll get confirmation on it. Yeah, he did. He only lost to Sevilla. He only lost to Sevilla because Jimenez missed his first pen. Yeah, so he got really far in there, didn't he? And this is an excellent point. Sangare on the AFCON, December and January. It's not just him. It'll be Einar as well going, potentially Taiwo if he's still here. Who else we got, chat? Bolly, he's signed up. So there's going to be quite a few. Miguel replacement. There is actually, you know what's interesting on that, David? So Forest do want a backup goalkeeper. And the Corinthians goalkeeper, Victor John, he is available for 5 million. I think he's been linked to Manchester United. So I wonder if Forest will do a little cheeky 4 or 5 mil bid on that. I would like him. I think he's very good. Yes, this is a good point. Callum Hudson-Odoi. So Callum Hudson-Odoi, his reps flew out to Greece to start discussing new contract negotiations with Forest. Remember, he's down to 1 year. So it's very important to tie him down. Now, there have been links away from Forest to Callum Hudson-Odoi a lot earlier in the window. It was like Spurs and some other crappy teams. So it looks like Ben Jacobs said to me that those talks are going well, and it's quite likely that he will sign. So that's some good news on Callum Hudson-Odoi. I do think, however, that we need to strengthen more on that left-hand side. I don't feel his competition has been strong enough. Hennessy back on the coaching team, so I'll probably sign him for 6 months again in January. It's crazy. Sorry, did I say Corinthians? I meant Botafogo. Sorry. Thank you, Jeff. Correction. The Botafogo one. Oh, this is an ugly question from a beautiful person in Craig. He says, any of the Man U 5 that want to leave? So Man U are getting, transfer requests apparently have been put in from Trashford, from Anthony, from Garnacho, from Malacia and Sancho. Would any of you take any of them? My answer is simple. No. Big up, by the way, big up to Antonio, right? My guy. The knowledge source center. Basically, if you don't like any of my takes on young footballers, I blame Mr. Mango himself, who is very close to 6K on his own channel. You guys have seen him. He's been on the channel loads, right? He is an absolute legend when it comes to knowledge on the younger footballers all over the world, right? So I'm talking to him about Bakayoko, but I went live, so I haven't had a chance to see his messages. If this stuff with Bakayoko progresses, or if Forest deciding any more younger talents, I'll probably grab him for his thoughts on Jair Cunha once that's officially announced. I haven't actually said that to you, Antonio, but now you know. Please do me a massive favor and subscribe to him. Look, you guys know I'm never wrong on anything. 60% of the time, I'm right every single time. I have never yet, to my knowledge or to date, seen a bad take from Antonio on one of the players he's told me is good. Right? So do me a favor. Please subscribe to his channel. In fact, my mods are so lazy that I'm going to have to do it myself, right? Like, what's going on here? Why has no one put the link in yet? I haven't got enough screens to do this. He's on 5.7. You guys should be able to get him way closer to the 6K mark, right? So I'm putting his channel in there. And make sure you go and subscribe. Show him some love. How do I pin that for you guys? Let me just quickly pin it. And he is one of the nicest guys around. He's so much nicer than Jimmy. Right? More than happy to come anytime, bro. Thank you for the shout out. Really appreciate you and all that have subbed. Big up to my guy. It's pinned in the chat. Okay. All right. I am about to go on Never a Foul to absolutely laugh at Arsenal. Because they're about to sign Madueke, and it's gonna be the funniest stream ever, right? So we're gonna kick off at 7 o'clock there. I need you guys to spam Nonny in there. All right, I just need you to spam Nonny because I think Igal is gonna be on. And I'm just gonna rip a new one on this one. So hold on. Oh, then we're not live yet, there, are we? Gotta get the link. Hold on. Any updates on Eze? Yes, same update. Forest is still interested in Eze. It's a hard deal to do, but they are still trying. It will need Arsenal, not to sign him. Never. Oh, hold on. All right. Any last second questions from you guys? Yes, Igal is on there. Oh my! I gotta cook the crap out of poor Igal, man. I gotta cook the crap out of poor Igal. I love him. I would love to see Eze at Forest. So would I, Tom. So would I. Vissa, no changes on Vissa. I haven't heard anything new on Vissa. I want to see the Igal. By the way, Igal said to me live on stream that if they sign Madueke, he is done with Arsenal. Let's see what he says. All right, guys, I'm going to be live on there in 2 minutes. Well, I say 2 minutes. They're always late. So I'm going to send you over there. I'll be on the panel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the update. Make sure you've liked, make sure you subscribe. There's loads of content, by the way, on TikTok now. There's like 4 different videos going on there every day. So make sure you're following us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on here. I will see you in a couple of minutes over on Never a Foul. Oh, wait, I got one more super chat. Sorry, I nearly missed it. Haris Azam, thank you for the super sticker. You absolute legend. I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Come on, you Reds.